So our first step will be setting up our environment for learning Windows Server. We're going to be setting it up on a virtual machine. A virtual machine is a separate operating system that runs independently but side by side with your host operating system. It uses your computer's hardware, but any changes made within a virtual machine will not affect your host operating system. To do this, we're going to use a software called VMware WorkStation. Now, there is a paid version of VMware WorkStation, but we're going to be using the free trial in order to set this up. There are other software packages out there that allow you to do the same thing, like VirtualBox, but we're going to be using VMware WorkStation. You can access VMware WorkStation by going to vmware.com, Products, Workstation. We're going to select Try for Free, and I'm running Windows 64-bit, and so I'm going to hit Download. Once the download is complete, we'll open up the installer. And we'll simply follow the prompts. The defaults should be fine for most installations. Once the installation is finished, we'll click Finish, and we'll open up VMware WorkStation. Before we create our virtual machine and install Windows Server, we need to obtain the installation media for Windows Server 2012. Normally when you install Windows or Windows Server, you can use a bootable CD, DVD, or USB drive. For our purposes, we're installing on a virtual machine, so we'll require a special file called an ISO file that will allow us to install Windows Server 2012 as if we were using an installation disk. To get this file, we're going to obtain an evaluation copy of Windows Server 2012. To do that, we're going to head over to the Microsoft's TechNet Evaluation Center. You can reach this at microsoft.com/en-us/evalcenter. Click the Evaluate Now button and select Windows Server 2012 R2 or Release 2. In order to download our evaluation copy of Windows Server 2012, we need to have a Microsoft account. So I'll go ahead and sign in. And once I've signed in with my Microsoft account, I'll select the type of file I want to download. We need an ISO file. We will hit Register and Continue. And we'll fill in the information. Some of this information is not necessary. For instance, I can select Other for my role in my company or organization. We're just using this as an evaluation. We do not need the System Center components. And if you'd like to sign up for TechNet's communication emails, you can check the box for subscribe. We'll go ahead and click Continue. And our download will begin. This is a larger file, about 4.2 gigabytes, so it may take a little while to download. Feel free to pause the video if you're following along, and we'll pick back up as soon as the download is finished. Now that our download has completed, I've gone ahead and moved the file to my desktop. Let's open back up VMware WorkStation, and we'll click Create a New Virtual Machine. We're going to use the typical configuration, and we'll select Installer Disk Image File, and we'll select our Windows Server ISO that we downloaded. We have the option of changing our virtual machine name and selecting a location for the files for the virtual machine. Now keep in mind that you'll need enough storage space to handle approximately 60 gigabytes, which is the default. Here we can change the maximum hard disk size. If you don't have enough space for the 60 gigabytes, you can turn this down, but it is recommended that you stay above 40 gigabytes. I'm going to leave it at the default. Before we start, we'll uncheck the Power On Virtual Machine after creation and click Finish. Now our virtual machine is set up and it's ready to install Windows Server. Alright, we've set up our virtual machine